Hello my fellow working class heroes, good day. I am Carlo and welcome to Carlo Excels. These are the objectives of this episode. We're gonna talk about the RAND function definition and we're gonna talk about the many applications of the RAND function. So what is the RAND function? The definition that you can see on the screen right now comes from Microsoft's own help documents. RAND function returns an evenly distributed random real number greater than or equal to 0 and less than 1. A new random real number is returned every time the worksheet is calculated. So for the RAND function, the function name is RAND. And for the function arguments, there are none. Yes, the RAND function is actually one of those rare functions that do not have arguments. Right now we're at my Microsoft Excel screen, so let's try the RAND function out. Now, what we do is we place the equal sign to connote that we want to put in a formula, and then we put in the function name, which is RAND, and then open parenthesis. And then remember, the RAND function has no arguments. So therefore, you put in the open parenthesis and then you simply close the parenthesis like so. And when you press enter, there is your RAND function, there is your random number. Just like what was stated in the definition a while ago, the only thing that the RAND function does is to assign a random number between 0 and 1. And by the way, this random number does not exist only once. You can in fact have different random numbers on different cells. In fact, if I copy this whole formula here and then spread it out across cells, you will now have many different cells with many different random numbers. One thing that you have to know regarding the RAND function is this. Every time Microsoft Excel recalculates the sheet, the RAND function will keep on reassigning random numbers to the cells you put it on. So when does recalculation in a Microsoft Excel sheet happen? Recalculation happens usually when you put in a new entry on a cell or when you remove an entry on a cell. Take for example, let me show you. So if I put in here a number on cell J1, let's say for example, let's put in a random text string here, and when I press enter, you will notice that the RAND function has now changed all of the cells that had the RAND function in it to different numbers, different values. If I put in another value here, it will change again, and it will change again. Once again, every time you enter or remove contents from one cell, the RAND function is going to keep on changing the random numbers on all of the cells you put it on. So if we remove an entry here, the RAND function will keep on changing the random numbers. Of course, people will now be asking, wait, what if I want the RAND function to stop reassigning random numbers? Well, all you have to do is this. So after you put in random numbers here, you get random numbers. Let's say, for example, you want the RAND function to stop reassigning numbers and values. All you will have to do then is to take the random number, or rather the cells with the RAND function, with the random numbers, and then you copy all of them, just like what I did right now. You copy all of them and then you repaste them. You repaste them over itself, this time pasting values. So when you paste values over it, you will notice that this is no longer the RAND function. These are now values. This is no longer the RAND formula within these cells. These are now values. And of course, now these values will no longer change because these are now constants. So I'm sure people are asking now, why would I ever need a function like this? Why would I ever need Microsoft Excel to place random numbers? Well, let me tell you, my fellow teachers, the ability to create randomness in a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet is a very important tool for us because, in fairness, as teachers, there are a lot of parts in our jobs that requires a little bit of randomness. There are in fact so many things you can do with the random number generation provided by the RAND function. To give you a few examples, you can in fact do a raffle. You can assign randomly the order of students for a particular program. You can randomly assign students into groups, or for those doing their action research, you can randomly select participants from a whole population. So essentially, with the RAND function, you no longer have to rely on websites like this. You don't have to go online to get your random generation. You can do it from the comfort, safety, and privacy of Microsoft Excel. And I'm gonna show you how. Before I continue, let me mention first that the steps I'm going to teach you will make heavy use of Microsoft Excel's data sorting features. So if you don't know how to do that yet, you can please check the descriptions below this video so you can find there the link to my basic data sorting lesson in Microsoft Excel. After you watch that video, you can come back here to continue this lesson. What you can see on the screen right now are our student names. If you've been here in our previous lessons, you will notice, of course, that these are the student names that we usually use, the randomly generated student names. Let's pretend for a moment that these are not student names, but these are in fact employee names. School admin, if these are your employees and there are 200 of them, how are you going to do your Christmas raffle, your Christmas company raffle, very, very easily? This is how to do it. First of all, let's take these names over here and then let's set it aside to the right so that we can work on the cells on the left. Next, what we want to do is, let's list down first the prizes that we have for this raffle. Take for example, from the very generous school administrators, we have 2 winners of 10,000 pesos each, like so. And then let's say for example, we have 5 winners of 5,000 pesos each. Whoops, 5,000 pesos each. And then let's have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 winners like so. Say for example, we then have 10 winners of 2,000 pesos each. So we have here winners of 2,000 pesos, and then we copy that 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10 winners of 2,000 pesos each. And then let's have, for the rest of the people, consolation prizes of 500 pesos each. So let's list that down here, winner of 500. And then we copy that all the way down until we hit the 200 people mark. So once again, we have 2 10,000s, we have 5 5,000s, then we have 10 2,000s, and then we have, for the rest of the people, we have 500 pesos consolation. Next, let's assign a random number to each and every employee that we have. So let's use the RAND function here, RAND, and then again, open close parentheses, because again, the RAND function does not have any arguments, and then press enter. We copy the same function all the way down next to all of the names. So all of the names now have a RAND function next to them. Just like what we learned a while ago, every time the Excel sheet recalculates, the RAND function will reassign a random number to all of these cells here. So think of that like shaking the fish bowl so that the balls inside will change places or will change their placement so that we can have true randomness. So let's keep on recalculating the random numbers. Let's say for example, we recalculate it 10 times. So what we can do is we can simply do a countdown, which will allow the random numbers there to keep on reassigning. So let's do it 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you will notice, of course, that every time I did all of those, the random numbers changed. So now that we've shuffled these numbers essentially 10 times, we now have the random numbers that we need. So just like what we learned a while ago, we copy all of these and then we overwrite paste it with paste values. So when we do paste values here, we no longer have the RAND function in these cells. Now we have constants. We now have values. Now think of it this way. If these are random numbers which were randomly generated and we order these numbers, essentially what we will get is a random order. So much so that if we take this column over here, and if you remember our lesson on basic sorting, so we take this column here and we press Ctrl A to select these 2 columns here. And then let's say for example, we sort it from smallest to largest value like so. Please take note that because these are random numbers and we are sorting the numbers generated randomly, what we now have are names sorted also randomly. So what we can then do now is we can take these names in this order, because again, take note, this is a random order. We take these names, Control X, we can cut that, and then we can paste it over here. So now we have randomly picked names on all of these winner assignments. So the winner of 10,000 pesos, 2 of them are Narvaez Divina Rene and Davidson Dario Winston. The winners of 5,000 are these people. The winners of 2,000 are these people. And the winners of 500, everybody else. Now let's try this. How about we assign the order of presenters? Say for example, we have students, there are 200 of them, and all of them are to make a speech. And we have to randomly assign them schedules. We have to randomly order their speeches. How do we do that? Well, That's easy. You will notice that each and every row already has numbers in them. So this is number 1, this is number 78, and this is, of course, number 200. So each and every row already has its assigned number. All we have to do now is to randomize the order of the names. So the person who is listed down here first will be the first to present. This will get number 2, and the person who will be listed down here will be last to present. Again, we can simply do this with the RAND function rather. So what we can do down here is put in the formula equals RAND, open close parenthesis, and then we copy the formula down here. And then let's say, for example, let's have 5 shuffles of the RAND function. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then once again, we take all of these cells here, copy, and then overwrite with a paste value. And then again, just like what we learned in the lesson on basic sorting, take this column, Control A to highlight both cells, and then sort it. This time, let's sort it largest value to smallest value. And again, because we assign these numbers randomly, when we sort them, the sorting of the names connected to them are also sorted randomly. So when we do this, boom, now what we have is a random order of students. So the person who is going to perform first is Swords Jeffrey, and the person who is going to perform last would be Harland Lindsay. Say for example, you are doing an action research, and then from a population of 200 students, let's say for example these are students now, from a population of 200 students, you have to pick 40 as your population. That's no problem again with random generation. All you have to do is, again, let's move all of these names to this side over here, and then let's play with this column here. So let's put in, for example, just like what I mentioned a while ago, only 40 out of these 200 people will be your sample size. So let's assign this as participant. Let's say participant here, and then we only have 40 of these. So let's put in 40 labels of participants. So these are the participants. And then once again, let us do a random number generation of these students beside these students here, like so. And then let's say for example, let's shuffle this 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again the random numbers are changing every time I enter a number on a cell. So that is how Excel recalculates. 6, 7, 8. So 8 reshuffles, and once again we copy all of these random functions, and to make the numbers on them stick, we paste values. So these are constants again, and this time again, Control A to sort it according to this column, and this time let's sort it smallest to largest, like so. And what you can do is the first 40 people listed down here, the first 40, so from here to here, from here to here. So out of the population of 200 students, these 40 students are now your randomly selected participants for your action research. But wait, you're probably wondering, what if I do not want 40 random students? What if I need 20 males and 20 females, but these males and females are then selected randomly? That's no problem at all. All you will have to do is to first separate the males and the females before you do the randomization. So, no problem here. What we're gonna do is we are going to first sort these names and separate the males from the females, like so. So what I did was I sorted them according to gender by using Microsoft Excel's own sorting to separate the males from the females. So let me put here a space between the males and the females over here. And then what we're gonna do is, again, we're gonna put a RAND function right in front of these names here, beside the names here, like so. And then beside the female names as well, like so. So say for example that we're gonna shuffle this, let's say 5 times. So what we can do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. shuffled 5 times. And once again, we're gonna take these numbers so that we can solidify the randomization of numbers. We can take the numbers, paste values, and those are now constants. And then say, for example, the males, we're going to sort smallest to largest. And the females, for example, we sort largest to smallest, like so. And once again, because we randomly assigned numbers to them, if we order the randomly assigned numbers, the order will also be randomized. So therefore, we can then take the first 10 names. We said a while ago, right? 40 participants, 20 males and 20 females. So we can take the first 20 males here. So these will be our participant males. And then we can take the first 20 females listed here. And again, these are randomly ordered. So therefore, our selection is completely random. Like so. 20, like so. And then we put them here. So now, these are our 40 randomly selected students, 20 of them males, 20 of them females. And I know this is a very common activity for teachers, randomly assigning students into groups for group work and for performance tasks. So let's say, for example, this is your class. So you have here 40 students with 20 males and 20 females. So we want to divide them into 5 groups with 8 students each, because this is 40, so 8 times 5, that's 40 people. So let's repeat the steps again, and I think you're starting to see the pattern. We will move these columns over here, and then let's list down the groupings. So this is group 1, so 8 students each, so for 5 groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, group 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, group 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, group 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, group 5. So these are the groups 1 to 5. And then, once again, let's do our random number generation like so. And then, we copy that, paste that down here, so all of those now have rand functions assigned to them. Let's shuffle this 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And then let's take these randomly generated numbers, and once again, to stop them from randomly generating more numbers or into different numbers, let's paste values. So these are now our randomly generated numbers, and once again, select that column, press Ctrl A, just like what we learned in the basic sorting lesson, Ctrl A, and then let's say we sort this largest to smallest like so. And then, what we have here, we can directly cut and paste to the prepared list. So what we now have here, these 8 students will be group 1. These 8 students will be group 2. These 8 students will be group 3. These 8 students will be group 4. These 8 students will be group 5. Completely unbiased, completely random. Now, for this next example, let's put a little bit of bias into our selection. Say, for example, you don't want 40 students to be assigned completely randomly. You want, for each and every group, just like what we had a while ago, 5 groups of 8 students each. But for those 8 students, you want 4 randomly selected males and 4 randomly selected females. That's not hard to do. Once again, we first prepare the list on the left. We prepare the male list first. So let's put in here, for example, male. And then once again, 4 males for each group. So this is for group 1. You have your 4 students. This is for group 2, 4 students. Group 3, group 4, and group 5. Like so. And then, of course, you have your female students here. Just like what we did with the male students, 4 group 1s, 4 males for group 1, 4 for group 2, 4 for group 3, 4 for group 4, 4 for group 5. So let's just copy that list and paste it down here. Next step is we first want to separate the males from the females. So once again, select the column that has the genders, press Ctrl A, and then sort that reverse alphabetically Z to A so that we have the males listed first and then the females listed at the bottom, just like so. So what you now have here are males here and females here. So let's first separate the males and the females, like so. And then, once again, we assign a random number next to the males, like this, rand function, and then the females like this. So let's shuffle this maybe 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we copy all of this and then we paste it as values once again to stabilize the randomness. Like so. So once again, these are no longer rand functions. These are now solid constant numbers. And once again, we sort this. Your choice as to how you want to sort it. Say, for example, I want to sort the males largest to smallest this time, and I want to sort the females smallest to largest like so. Now, the first 4 males listed here will be group 1. Or rather, let me just do that. It's transferred here to here. Whoops. Transfer. Control X from here to here. And then the females, transfer that from here to here. Now you have for group 1, 4 males, 4 males for group 2, 4 males for group 3, 4 males for group 4, 4 males for group 5. 4 females for group 1, 4 for group 2, 4 for group 3, 4 for group 4, 4 for group 5. So let's remove the genders there and then let's use this column to combine the lists together. Control A and then sort that alphabetically. So now you have a mixed number. Group 1, 8 people, 4 males and 4 females. Group 2, same thing. Group 3, same thing. Group 4, same thing. And Group 5, same thing. There you go. Next, I know some teachers do this, so I'm gonna give this as the next example. What if you want to randomly assign students, but you also want to distribute them according to their performance in class? In other words, there are some cases wherein if you assign the students randomly, you will accidentally get the highest performing students, all of them in just one group. And you have sometimes the lowest performing students, all of them in just one group, which is kind of unfair for some of the groups concerned. So that is why, let's say for this example, you want to properly distribute the students from high performing to low performing, but at the same time, you want a little bit of randomness to it. How do you do it? What we now have here on our screen are a bunch of student names. So there are 40 students here. Let's say, for example, this is their class. And these are the grades that you want to use as a basis for, for grouping them. So what do you do? Of course, first step is to order order them based on their grades. You might want to do this higher grades first, going to lower grades. So once again, place your cursor over that column, Control A, and then filter them largest to smallest, so that you will have the highest grades on top and then you have the lowest grades at the bottom. Say for example, in this case, we want 8 groups with 5 students each. Again, 8 groups with 5 students each. So what we can do in this case is we're going to segment these students based on their grades. Because we need 8 groups of 5 students each, what we can do now is we will have 8 different segments with 5 students. So we're gonna separate them based on their grades. So what we can do is, let's take these 5 students first, the highest performing you have, and let's put them on a segment. Let's put it here. Next, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these students here. Then you have these students here. Then you have these students here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these students here. Then you have these students here. Then you have these students here. Then you have these students here. Next step, once again, let's assign a random function right next to the names, like so. So let's put here rand, open close parenthesis, like this. So we have our random number here. We copy that. We copy all of this to all of the cells, just like what I'm doing here right now. So all of these are rand functions, like so. So all of them have a rand function right next to them. Let's shuffle this 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Now, once again, we take all of these random functions. We only need a value, so we Control C, and then we paste value so that we can stabilize the numbers, stop the randomness. So these are now constants. Next, using the random numbers right next to the names, we can then randomly order them. Say for example, for the first 4 segments, we're going to sort it smallest to largest random numbers, like so. Smallest to largest, smallest to largest, 3, and then 4. For the last 4 segments, we're going to sort it largest to smallest in terms of their random numbers, not in terms of their grades. Largest to smallest, largest to smallest, largest to smallest, largest to smallest. And once again, this is completely random because we're ordering the random numbers. The order will also be random. So now we have ordered them. Next step is we can remove the random numbers and then we can assign the groups to them. First person listed down will be group 1. This is group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5. And we can do the same for all of the groups, or rather for all of the segments right below them. And again, this has now been done or ordered completely randomly. So much so that if you now order them based on the group numbers that you now assign to them, I'm going to remove the spaces. I'm going to remove the space. I'm just going to highlight this whole 3 columns over here and then sort them smallest to largest. We will now have 8 students, all of them group 1, and these 8 students now have distributed performances in terms of their distributed grades. So you have, for each group, you have high-performing students all the way down to low-performing students, and all of these students have been assigned randomly. What if you want to assign random numbers, but you don't want to assign random numbers between 0 and 1? What if you want to assign random numbers between 2 solid numbers? For example, you want to assign random numbers between 50 and 100. Or for example, you want to assign random numbers between 75 and let's say 80. How do you do that? Is that possible? Yes, it is possible with RAND. So for this step, when you want to randomize or rather assign a random number, but instead of having the number being between 0 and 1, you want the numbers to be between 2 numbers, this is the formula. So you have here equals, open parenthesis, RAND, open close, times B minus A, enclosed in parenthesis, and then another parenthesis plus A. So what you're essentially doing is random number times quantity B minus A plus A. B in this case means the higher limit. In other words, the higher number that you want to be the limit of the randomness, and then you have A as the lower limit. So for example, if you want to have a random number between 1 and 10, then you have here RAND times B is 10, A is 1. Sorry, did I say 1 and 10? Yeah. B is 10, A is 1, and then plus A, which is another 1. Let's try it out. So let's say, for example, you want to try some calculations out in Microsoft Excel, but you need sample grades. You need random sample grades. So how can you get the grades? Well, instead of having to get real grades, which is of course a data privacy violation, we can of course make our own random grades. Let's say, for example, the grades that we want to have is between the lowest possible grade, just as an example, the lowest possible grade of 70 and the highest possible grade of 95. Let's do the RAND function and then let's generate a grade between 70 and 95 for all 200 of these students. So what we can do is, just like what we saw a while ago in our example, I'm going to put the formula here just so you can see it. That is how the formula looks like, right? So we'll have here is equal to RAND, open close parenthesis, times the highest limit is 95, just like what we mentioned a while ago, 95 minus lowest limit is 70, and then plus the lowest limit, which is 70. So when I press enter, you will notice that the random number, because of these additional calculations, the random number now generated is between 70 and 95. So we can simply get that number, copy that, and then paste that all the way down there. And there you go. 200 randomly generated grades. And then, of course, you can completely shuffle that, keep on shuffling that, just like what we did a while ago. Let's say we shuffle that 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's say, for example, these are now the grades that we're going to use for our sample calculations. All of these grades, of course, have been generated randomly. And all of them are between 70 and 95. So let's play a bit more with this. Take for example, you want to make grades that are a little bit more realistic. Now in a class, it's usually you will have a number of students that are high performing and a number of students that are low performing. So let me create additional columns there. Say for example, in this class, you want 50 of your students to have failing grades. 50 of your students to have failing grades. So that's grades below 75. And then you want the other 50 of your students to be super high performing, let's say grades of 90 to 95, and the rest having very average grades that range from 80 to 90. So you can actually prepare and pre-assign the higher and lower limit based on those specifications. So once again, as I mentioned a while ago, out of these 200 students, 50 of them have failed. So we can assign a higher limit of 74. This is the higher limit. And then we can assign then a lower limit of 70. So we can copy these constants down 50 times, because we want 50 students. 50 times 50 times here, and then Control V there. So for these 50 students, they will have an upper limit grade of 74 and a lower limit grade of 70. Now, for the next 50 students, we want to have an upper limit grade of 95 and a lower limit grade of 90. So these are your top performing students now. So Control C, and then we copy this 50 rows down like so. So we have your very high performing students here. Their grade will be randomized from 95 to 90. And then we have our sort of average students. So let's say their grades will be from 89 to 75 passing. So upper limit 89, lower limit 75. So let's copy those constants all the way down here. Like so. Now let's prepare the random function. So what we can do now is open parenthesis RAND. Let's just copy the formula we learned a while ago. RAND times. Now, B. Remember that we already assigned this is the upper limit. So we can simply select this cell reference here. This is the upper limit minus the lower limit. Just like that's what this in this cell. What is in this cell? So close parenthesis, another one, plus the lower limit like so, and press enter. So of course, just like what we learned in previous lessons on cell references, if we copy this and paste this down here, naturally, the randomization will adjust based on the values that are written down here. So that is why the random values that you see on the first parts are according to the limits you placed on columns B and C. And you will notice, of course, that the random scores placed here are now in accordance to the values you set on columns B and C. So we can simply continue that all the way down here. And then you have, of course, your randomized grades based on your specifications. So now you have 50 failing students, you have 50 top performing students, and then you have 100 rather good grades students. All right, so naturally let's randomize this 5 times. 1 2 3 4 5. So let's once again copy all of this and then paste values so that we stop the randomization. Now please take note that it never happens that when you arrange students alphabetically, the first 50 students in the alphabetical order are failing students. That's not how real life works. So therefore, what you also want to do is you also want to randomize the order of these grades. And you already know how to do that. So let's randomize the order of those grades by putting in a random number next to these grades. And then copy pasting all the way down here. Let's randomize. Let's shuffle the randomization 5 times. 1 2 3 4 5, like so. Copy all of this again. Paste as values, and then let us sort the random numbers. Let's say largest to smallest. Once again, we sort random numbers, so the sorting is also completely random, like so. And then, what you have here now is a random order of high-performing, passing, and failing grades. So these grades are now ready for use as random grades of these students. So we can now use this for whatever sample calculation that you need. But of course, some of you may ask, the random grades that I want, I don't want any decimals in my random grades. Well, you can of course remove the decimals by changing the display. So we can format cells like so, number, and then we remove the decimal places like this. But of course, just like what I mentioned in a previous lesson, this only changes the display. You don't really remove the decimal places from the value of the cell. You just change the way that Microsoft Excel shows these numbers. For you to really remove the decimal places from these random numbers, you can in fact use the round function, you can use the int function, or you can use another function for randomization. You can use the RAND between function. Now, the round function, the int function, and the RAND between function are all functions that we will discuss in a later lesson video. So once again, please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss that lesson when it comes. So before I end this lesson, I hope you now appreciate the many uses of a random number generator within Microsoft Excel. In fact, what I showed you are only samples. There are many more things that you can do with random number generation. But of course, as you learn more things in Microsoft Excel, you'll be able to find more applications for random number generation. So that's it for the RAND function in Microsoft Excel. Once again, I am Carlo, and this is Carlo Excels. Thank you very much for watching.